over 1500 movies are made in India every year. But when it comes to truly leaving a mark on their audience, for me, Rang De Basanti comes on the top. It's a great example of a character drama that is funny, gripping, and profoundly moving. And no matter how many times you see the film, it always comes out as hooking as we are watching it for the first time. The entire film moves from one situation to another so smoothly, creating such a great story flow. It compelled me to talk about the character designs and how director Rakesh and Prakash Mehra used the characters around the main protagonist along with the great story flow to give DJ a perfect character arc. Let's take a closer look at Rang De Basanti. Character arc refers to the development of the character over the course of the story. A character brings the necessary qualities of characterization to act out choices. Put simply, a character must be credible, young enough or old enough, strong or weak, worldly or naive, educated or ignorant, generous or selfish, witty or dull, just in the right proportion. So how do we do that? How do we decide what character is good for our story to bring in the credibility and also rise up to the occasion when the need arrives? Robert McKee, in his book The Story, writes, "True character can only be expressed through choice in dilemma. How the person chooses to act under pressure is who he is." When you are writing characters for your story, it is very important to define them. And by defining, I mean to clear up their backstory, their personal life, professional life, and private life for your reference. Then pick a couple of traits that you have just defined and throw your characters into your story world. But keep in mind to stay true to your characters throughout the storyline. But the thing to note here is, the true characters knowingly or unknowingly waits behind a mask. In the beginning of the film, we see a carefree man in a friendly but pointless competition with his best friend. DJ cherishes each one of these little moments that are sprinkled all over the first act. But we get a real sense of who DJ really is during his conversation with Sue after he's drunk.
यूनिवर्सिटी से पास आउट हुए मैंने 5 साल हो गए फिर भी आई एम हियर ओनली
मैं समझी नहीं
मैंने बस यूनिवर्सिटी में ही रहना है
क्यों
इधर कैंपस में लोग जानते हैं मैंने डीजे दी इत्थे कोई औकात है लोग कहते हैं डीजे में बड़ी बात है कुछ करेगा डीजे लेकिन बाहर दुनिया में अच्छे डीजे पिस गए.
This tells us, no matter how cool and carefree DJ's character is, in reality, behind the mask, he's just a scared college kid who is afraid of growing up. Hence, he loves to stay where he is.
ओए हद हो गई यार कमाल हो गया पैंट की बियर दा कसूर है यार सब बाहर निकल आया.
This exposition in the car shows us a contradicting side of the character and tells us that DJ has another dimension to him which no one knows about. Rang De Basanti juxtaposed the past and the present like never before. Comparing these young college kids to legendary freedom fighters is something that nobody expected.
Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru, Durga Bahabi, Ashfaq Ullah Khan.
But then why Sue McKinley thought that someone like DJ will be a perfect match to play the role of Chandrasekhar Azad in her movie? The answer lies in the very first scene where Sue meets DJ. Sue watches DJ shift his personality thrice according to the situation he was in.
सू है कि नाम है यार इतनी गुलाबी गुलाबी इसका नाम तो गुलाबो होना चाहिए.
DJ.
A fun-loving friend and a flirt at first.
यार I mean it's very cold यार.
A protective shield for his friends when the need arrives.
तेरे को नहीं पसंद तू मत आइयो तू चुप है साला पाकिस्तानी.
And a cunning guy who is easily able to bribe the policeman to get everyone out of trouble. DJ can so easily switch into all these roles. This catches Sue's attention. She just spotted a perfect behrupia.
Welcome to India, sir.
ओए किसी ने भूख लगी है मेरे पेट में तो चूहे कबड्डी खेल रहे हैं यार
Rang De Basanti has 7 main characters. Each one of them is so beautifully wrapped into one another that each one of them provokes a particular emotion in the main protagonist, be it love, anger, respect, or care. DJ is surrounded by a bunch of characters he can care for, be equal to, or look up to in different scenarios. In the beginning of the movie, we see DJ as a fun-seeking, carefree, lovable human being we'd all love to be with. And towards the end, he turns into a rebel with a cause we'd all love to support. But such a major change in the character can't happen all of a sudden. The structure of the film has a major role to play in bringing out the true character. The story has to be built in such a way that it adds pressure on the main character. And Rang De Basanti was designed to do just that. As the film proceeds, we see a measurable change in the mindset of all the characters. When they really connect to the cause of freedom via Sue's movie, we see a rise in maturity and seriousness in certain discussions. As we get to know more and more about the protagonist and how he reacts in different situations, the more we start seeing things from his perspective. There are multiple situations in the film where we see DJ being protective of his friends. But when the news of Ajay Rathod's death arrives, DJ feels powerless as he realizes that none of his ways might work in this situation. But when the politician belittles Ajay Rathod for his own benefit,
अजय राठौड़ जैसे नौसिखिए पायलट जो गैर जिम्मेदारी से चलाते हैं
यही क्या पके जा रही है ये आदमी?
DJ and the gang decides to protest against it, which leads to chaos. And when DJ sees all this happening in front of him, he becomes vulnerable.
उसने कभी किसी का कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ा यार।
And hence, the mask comes off.
कुछ भी गलत नहीं किया, लेकिन उसके साथ तब से सब कुछ खत्म यार। और अपनी सोनिया यार, अपनी बच्ची।
And hence, when this moment arrives,
हम कर भी क्या सकते हैं? देश का कानून उसकी जेब में।
हमें कुछ ऐसा करना होगा जो उन्हें जड़ से हिला दे
मतलब क्या? करना क्या चाहता है तू?
मार डालो उसे।
it seems justified.
कौन करेगा खत्म? हाँ कौन? अरे खत्म कौन करेगा?
मैं
Real DJ comes out who has the will to fight and even stand alone if he has to, and go the distance regardless of the price. Resulting in creation of what can safely be said one of the most powerful climax in Indian cinema.
जो इन्हें डर नहीं लगता। मुझे लगता है कभी-कभी इंसान के अंदर की आवाज उसे इतनी दूर तक खींच लाती है कि डर की सारी हदें पार हो जाती हैं।
This is the power of writing a perfect character arc. It takes the story to a new height, and if the casting is done right, the characters stay in our hearts for a very long time. So what do you think about DJ's character and the movie in totality? Let's discuss it in the comments. I hope you liked the video. Please share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.